All right, everybody. Thank you for jumping on the energy bus. We are going to be going through chapters 1 through 13 today, which sounds like a lot, but it's not actually a lot in this book because this book is more like just a fable with lots of really, really great takeaways. Um, and so, what I think that I will do for people who who maybe haven't read the book but are jumping on the book call, jumping on the recording, I'm going to give just the first couple chapters don't get into the meat of the takeaways and the valuable lessons. It just gives background on a character called George. So I'm going to go over that really quick, and then we will spend our time chatting about the really amazing takeaways and themes that are in here. So George is a husband and a worker and a dad who is in a really negative headspace. He's just feels like all awful things happen to him. He goes out to go to work in the morning and he's got a flat tire. Um, his spare for his flat tire is flat. He goes and tells his wife she needs to take him to work, and she's like, I can't. I have things going on. We got kids, we got appointments. I can't take you to work. You got to take the bus. So he takes the bus and is moaning and groaning and unhappy. Well, the driver of the bus is this sweet lady named Joy, which is so fitting for her. And you can tell when you ride on her bus, it's going to be a little different. And she, shares that she can tell when people are unhappy, just sleepwalking through life. Um, and she gives him a little tidbit because he doesn't want to hear it. Like, she's chatting and he doesn't want to hear it. Um, but she tells him, like, to basically, I didn't highlight it because it wasn't super relevant. Basically, is telling him, like, you're sleepwalking through life. Your life's like a soap opera. Get your act together, kind of. He doesn't want to hear it. But then he gets to the office and his boss tells him, hey, I can't carry you anymore. Everybody wants to know what's going on with you. I've been making excuses for you, but if you don't get your act together soon, we're going to have to let you go. And he's like, how can this be? Like, I used to be really awesome. Um, and he goes to the tire shop, and the tire guy is like, look, I got really great news and then not so good news. The great news is your flat tire saved your life. And there was a recall on your car, and the brakes could go out at any time. And so thank goodness you had a flat tire, because if you were driving it like this, you could have had a terrible accident. Your brakes would have gone out. The bad news is it's going to take 2 weeks to get the part for your brakes. So George is so mad. I like that because it reminds me how often when we have little inconveniences, it's so easy to be mad about the inconvenience or being late. But how many times, I call them God winks. Was God really, like, giving us a speed bump or to slow us down to protect us from something that would have been bad? Like a small inconvenience that protected us from something that could have been bad. And that's kind of what happened to George. So now he's got to ride the bus for 2 weeks. And so that's when we really get into Joy and the other riders on the bus are gonna share with George the 10 rules. The 10 rules. She calls her bus the energy bus, and she tells George, hey, you really need these rules. They're gonna change your life. And so that's where chapter 7 really is rule number 1. You're the driver, where we really get into the core themes and the amazing things that I think are going to be coming in this book. Does anybody want to add things, or um, the whole essence of 1 through 6? I feel like is his wife is like, hey, I don't want to put up with this anymore. I don't know if I can stay in this marriage. You're too negative. His boss is like, you're going to lose your job. Basically, George is not, he's not in a good spot. So the energy bus is his chance to turn his life around. Anybody else want to add things for that? Or Sunny?
Well, I just think it's important to note how he couldn't even see the fact that he had a God week. He couldn't even see that he had no gratitude for finding the bigger issue. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I just wanted to slap him, but I'm like, it's so me. Like I have so been there, you know. Yeah. Anyway, I thought that was important. And then I don't know if it's what chapter it's specifically on, but so the being the driver of your own bus is a very like common therapy sort of tool, accepted in acceptance and commitment therapy. Like it's a common metaphor, right? So like you're the driver of your bus, but something I think that's important, and it maybe I think it's actually in chapter later on in chapter 9. Um, there's a guy named Marty on the bus, and Marty's like saying something that happened. Or sorry, George is talking about something that happened, and Marty's like, "That's not good, dude. That's not good." And um, the reason why I think that's important is because we often have different passengers on our bus of life that distract us or derail us or try to be like, focus on the bad, focus on the bad. Marty's like, that's not good, like, and so when we're driving our own energy bus, it's important to be aware of who's in our head. I'm sure Marty in this fable is a real person, but also those voices, those people can be in our heads too. When we lose track of the direction that we want to go. So anyway, those are just the first few things I had in my notes. Um, but
Yeah.
I did write down the things that she asks him to do when you're the driver of the bus. I don't know if you have them highlighted. You probably have them
Mm-hmm.
easily uh, readily available. But I just think they're really good touch points. Like this is your life. You have to know the direction that you are going. Oh, also back to chapter 6 when right before she gives the rules. I think it's also important to note that he thought Joy's life was great. He thought Joy didn't have any problems because Joy was happy, right? And so that's the trick of life, right? That we think that everything has to be going well for us to be happy and for
Mm-hmm.
things to be good. And that's just not the case. Like she was very clear, like, you're on my bus for a reason. Not everything is not as it seems, but we're all connected and we're all doing this together. And anyway, I think that was important that she shared that her life was not going great. Things were tough for her.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
No, I think that is so good.
And I love she
Um,
had the mindset of, it's just like it's a mindset, it's a choice, right? Like she
mhm.
chooses the joy, she chooses the good because you focus on the good and more good comes, right? And so I know easier said than done sometimes, right? When life is lifing, but
Mhm.
that was just a good reminder for me when I thought, yeah, he totally thought poor me, victim mindset. And I love the shift that I saw happen as I listened to those 13 chapters.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I thank you, Sunny, for pointing. I need to go back and underline this, but when she shared the things that she was going through, and she talks about everybody's got problems, and he says, but you're so happy and cheery, how do you stay so happy? And I love what she says. She says, it's just what I'm all about, sugar. It's because I love life, it's because I love you, and it's because I love me. How can I
Mm.
love myself if I don't love you? How can I love myself if I don't love everyone? You see, we're all connected, and I love it all, even the ones who are hard to love. Because, like, could you imagine as a bus driver the grumpy people that get on that bus? Like, it would be real easy, I think, to be a bus. And of course, this is just a story, but it'd be real easy in lots of different careers to just be grumpy because the people coming to you are just coming with garbage. I can't, people
Yeah.
that are riding the bus are not riding the bus because they love the bus, right? Like my dad, when I was young. like maybe 7, and he lost his driver's license from a DUI. And the whole summer I spent with him, we had to take the bus everywhere. And so I know we weren't riding the bus because the bus is fun. We were riding the bus because my dad couldn't drive anymore. You ride the bus because you don't have a car, the
Mhm.
money to have a car, right? The
Mhm.
least of your worries is that you're riding a bus. Like,
Mhm.
and so the analogy of just how she does all of this is so good.
Yeah.
And then the 3 things, Sunny, that you were talking about was my vision, the things to write down, my vision for life, including my health is, my vision for my work, career, job, and team is, and my vision for my relationship and family.
Mm.
You know, and that goes into like my training with future boards is just being well rounded in your life. And I know, Sunny, I'm sure with all of your training, like it's so easy to go off the rails. If you think of like your life like a bicycle tire, if all you focus on is your career, like, and then your health falls down, like your bicycle tire is going to be all wonky. You can't ride smoothly. Like there's lots of aspects of your life. You got to know what you're working on
Mhm.
and put energy into those things.
Yep. For sure. I love in chapter 8 when she talks about how it's all about energy, but like that he said, which I think she kicked somebody off the bus or somebody got off the bus anyway, because he couldn't get past the idea that we live in a physical world, but it's all energy and frequency and being on the same wavelength. And yeah, I just think that's interesting too. Like we do think it's just life is transactional, but really it's just all connected. Um, anyway.
And I like on page 34, she touches on because it would be easy to just think about our energy as like positive thoughts because we spend so much time on our thoughts. But, 34, where it says, think about the people who increase your energy and those who drain you. So, and I think that's in our front of mind in what we do. But think about the foods that you eat that make you feel great and those that make you want to take a nap, you
Mhm.
know, and our energy is we get energy from our food, from our exercise, from our people that are around us. And I think we in our industry are more aware of our positive thoughts and surrounding ourselves with good people and good energy. But also spending time to think about, like, I know for myself, if I don't work out that day, I am more tired. Like it seems like it should be the opposite. Like I should be tired after I work out. But when I work out, I have more energy for the rest of the day. When I eat better, I have more energy,
Mhm.
So there's so much that goes into our energy, I think.
Mhm. Oh, let's see, what else do I have? I wrote down, okay, so chapter 9, every crisis offers an opportunity. I have a hard time, I don't know where it is specifically in the book, but personally have a hard time with the everything happens for a reason because I think that just everything happens. I think sometimes things happen for a reason, but sometimes I think things just happen. Life is hard, people get sick. That's life, right? Like life is going to happen, but how we choose to handle it, that is up to us, right? Like we can choose to get something from it or not. And I think that's the key more so than everything happens for a reason, because then we're looking for a reason why something bad would happen to us, or we're looking for a reason why I deserved that good thing that happened. And there's not always a reason for why something good happens to us. We're just being blessed by life, right? And it's not always cause and effect, because then when things are wrong, we're like looking for why I'm so bad that this bad thing would happen to me. And that's just not always the case. And I've seen a lot of people spiral into like spiritual shame, like this wouldn't have happened had I not been more in tune with God or something. And I just don't believe that. I don't personally believe that anymore. Have a really good book to recommend if you want to read more about that. But I do like that every crisis offers an opportunity. Like you have to have desire and a vision, and then he was focused and moving forward. Like so rule number 2 was desire and vision. forward requires focus, and it starts with thought. Focus on your vision, just 10 minutes a day. What we think about, we attract. Like, I love when she talked about the telephone telepathy thing. When we see the cars that we've been focusing on the road more, like what we focus on expands. We talk about that a lot in the plexus world. Like, negativity breeds negativity, but positivity, if we're looking for it, we will see it. But the intentionality of choosing, it's a muscle to choose to look for the positive, to choose to look for the opportunity in a crisis. That is a muscle that we absolutely just have to strengthen. And it doesn't feel good and you don't want to do it, just like exercise, right? But like, you feel better when you do. And I just think it's a muscle. Um, yeah, anyway, those are
When you
some
say
thoughts.
that, it almost becomes discipline, especially when you're thinking of exercise. Because I started Pilates, for example, twice a week. And now I go 5 days a week. And like if I miss, even though it's like we joke that we're coming back for more torture because it's like really hard. Athletic performer Pilates is no joke.
Mhm.
But we still go back and we all complain every single time. And then we feel so good. And it's, you're so glad you went. But like you said, sometimes it's not easy to get there, but that's the discipline piece, I feel like.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Let's see. What else do I have? Trust, faith, joy, and purpose. Those are the real deal. Those are the not fake things. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. I really loathe when people are just like putting on this fake happy energy face, like everything's fine. I'm like, no, it's not. And it's okay to admit that it's not in that moment. Like when people spiritually bypass or like just fake happy, it drives me nuts. Like, batty. But like, you can focus on the things that are the real deal, like trust and faith and joy and purpose. And you can fuel your ride with that positive energy. This isn't like a fake happiness. Like, this is the real stuff, like the soul level happy stuff. And you have to kind of, everyone's is different, I feel like, too. You have to know what fuels you specifically. And that takes, again, the intentionality of searching for it and really not just like doing the things that are supposed to be the things that fuel you, but like truly asking yourself, what lights me up? Like, what do I do? What around my life that like really actually at a soul level gives me that positive energy feeling? And we sometimes just have to put ourselves in those situations, like the right kind of music, or the right kind of exercise, or the right people. um Not just, oh, I'm supposed to be happy around my fill in the blank person in your life, but that may not be the case. Like, my husband can't be everything for me, right? I want him to be, but he cannot. He is not my best girlfriend who also has ADHD and gets me to my core, right? Like, he's not that person. He's many other things for me, but I get something from her that he cannot provide, and that's okay, right? Like, um anyway, so I think there's some work in finding what actually fuels you for your positive and positivity ride.
Yeah, absolutely. I think um that's why almost a year and a half ago when I started running again was just because I had gotten to a place in my head that wasn't good. Looking back, I know it was like the beginning of, not the beginning, but really probably the in the thick of perimenopause, really just kicking my ass and me not having a clue what was happening. It like I wasn't, you know, I used to be the one accused of being happy all the time. I must be fake. And I was like, no, just stick around for a while because I'm just
Mhm.
having some good moments, but
Yeah.
then becoming like not happy and not wanting to be around humans. I was like, you know what helps me? Running. When really I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to talk to people. I didn't want to like nothing. I didn't want to do anything, but I just started running again because when my four kids were little, it kept me sane. And I was
Mhm.
like, let me try it again. And it continues to help me. That is something for me that brings me energy. Like I feel strong, I feel good, I feel whatever when a run is done.
Mhm.
But for everybody it's something different. Melanie's going to go walk her legs in ropes and be tortured. Feel good
That
about it
and
at the end.
10K steps. I love prayer walks too. So I typically, when I'm in my best headspace, is well, usually a challenge we did in May, but it was the Pilates. And then we did 10K steps as well. And I started wearing a weighted vest. Anyway, so I was just feeling stronger doing things that challenge me, but also it had the accountability piece, right? We know that accountability is so key because guess what's happened since then? I'm not doing my 10K steps. I'm getting some steps in, but I'm not doing what I was because I was like, I don't have anybody to check into. So I need to check in with myself. And that's where when she talked about what fuels you, I'm like, yes, because it has to be something I'm just doing for me. Like I don't have to check a box for Christy or Sunny or Jeannie on the call, right? Like I need to do it for myself. And that's the same with rebounding. I've started rebounding and also lymphatic drainage. So just a lot of things for your health. And then bedtime. Like these are all like things I was all doing and I'm trying to get back to, but one thing at a time, right? Like one thing, just that habit stacking of one thing at a time. But I have lots of goals for my health especially as I age. I know y'all do too.
Mm-hmm. I love
Yeah.
the idea of the thank you walk that he talked about.
I
Thank
really
you
like
walk. Yeah. I think so that's just wise. And again, a practice of practicing and building that muscle.
Mhm.
And then the next one was the one great golf shot theory.
Mhm.
Think about the one great thing that happened that day. And I'm sitting here, okay. I wish I could just turn off my like intellectual thinking, knowing, studying brain when like the news is loud and life is loud, but I just cannot. I cannot. So I know that I need the practice. My husband and I both do. Of like being intentionally thankful. And I've noticed this too with my girls. Um, they're not we're not training them to focus on gratitude and the things that happen that were good because I'm a budding Enneagram 1 child. I just know it. And she will focus on the bad or like what's going on in her head, like negative thoughts. And so I'm going to start practicing this one great thing. Because again, I want my kids to have the same muscles that I'm working on myself. And it starts with me. And so like maybe at dinner, just talking about the things that we're thankful for that day or the one great thing. I just think that that's important and a skill that I want to focus on with my family.
I love that,
Yeah.
Sunny. One thing I did start doing probably like 2 years ago, especially now because they're teenagers, it's my chance to connect with them still, and they still ask for it. We do 3 things they're grateful for that day, and then we pray before bed. So it's just a good practice. I
Mhm.
go to each of their rooms, and it's just a great way for them to go to sleep, for me to find out a little bit more, because you may not hear it in the car, you may not hear it at dinner. Sometimes that
Yeah.
private time, they'll tell me things that I'm like, oh, I didn't know that
Mhm.
happened today. So it
Yeah,
gives me a chance to really connect with them, but it's just being intentional with that, and it does help them look toward gratitude, and I found that really helpful.
that's
So
good. That's good.
Yeah. Something we did. Of course, I have adults now, but at dinner, back when they were younger, we always did. Everybody at the dinner table had to share their high of the day and their low of the day.
Hmm.
Because it allowed us to know and connect with each other. And then something my kids always complained about, and now they do it to each other. When one of them will start complaining or being upset about something, I literally be like, okay, stop. Give me 10 things you're grateful for. And
Yeah.
just stop that train of thought. And they would get so like, sometimes I'd get like air, water, but what they didn't realize is it was retraining that muscle
Hmm.
to when they start to go off the rails to focus on things that they're great. And they would never even return to what they were upset about because they could come up with a few, but coming up with 10, and I would count, they'd be like, is it 7 enough? And I'm like, no, 10. But I've always done that to them. And literally now as adults, they do it to each other or they'll do it to me. Like if I seem like I'm upset about something, they'll be like, stop, mom. 10 things you're grateful for, go. And I'll be like,
Hmm.
stupidest thing ever. And your kids are still little. Melanie, yours are older. It might help with if ever. Teenagers have a real knack for going off the rails real quick, like. And that skill now is stuck with them because, like you said, Sunny, it's a muscle.
Mm-hmm.
It is a muscle, and I train them when they start to get really upset to pause and pivot into gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
And that changes the energy, so fast.
Yep.
Um,
That's all I have I actually read 14 because I thought it went to 14 because I didn't pay attention, but I'll save that for next time. Actually, I won't be on next time. I will, well, there's a chance, but probably not. I'll be in DC next week.
you might have to just send us all your smarty pants social work
Yeah,
notes.
we love all your wisdom.
I
Sunny.
like how your therapy drop-ins.
Yeah, it's good.
Yep.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Melanie, you got anything else?
Nope. It was just all really good. And I love how I just saw the shift in him as I listened. I did not take notes because I was driving, but I mean, it's a really quick read when you listen to it anyway. But I just loved how he just started like grumpy pants. And then I just see this shift in him by the 13th chapter. And I was like, man, really? And I loved how she shifted his perspective, right? Joy was a big part of that. And the whole bus was on board. And so it was just about life and focusing on gratitude and focusing on joy. And we know that that's key, but sometimes life can be lifing, right? So it's all good reminders of like, we know this like logically, but it's all about intentionality. And so that was just a good reminder to always be intentional and be mindful of our thoughts because we know that creates our reality and to mind your mind, That's why I love these books and personal development in general.
Yeah, absolutely. Yay. Well, that was easy. So easy to do it twice in one day. Get my act together.
So next week, 12 o'clock though, Central, just to be sure. Right. Okay, cool.
Yeah, everybody was right.